Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, August 9th. Skipped yesterday. I did not get to play D&D with my buddies. One of them was exposed to COVID potentially, so didn't want to risk anything there. But I did get some mapping done. Not on the one that I've been working on for ages, but I gotta make a couple maps for my Sunday New Divines game. I got one of them done. Because I'm doing a very different style. I'm not doing a use math and science and knowledge. I'm just kind of painting terrain on a map for that game. I was able to do one, and also it's a lot smaller section. It's not a whole planet. Yeah, I was able to do one of the two maps I needed just in the time after work yesterday. A couple of free hours. I have one more to do, but I'll get around to it. Now today is movie day. Now, last week, I watched Grease, wonderful movie, and I expected I would move right into Grease 2. I have recollection of liking that as well. However, given the tragic news from yesterday of Olivia Newton-John's passing, I'm like, it doesn't feel right to go from, oh, she's great, to, oh, Michelle Pfeiffer's great. Yeah, it's like, I'd rather just break genre and watch a, completely different style of movie. Let that stand on its own, because realizing that habit, like, I had just watched the movie when I heard that, I was like, oh well. So I think, sticking to the shelf, I will watch one of those movies that I've never seen. I'm gonna watch First Knight. Now, I think I've seen a part of it. A scene or two. I have... And maybe it's not even from this movie. In which case I have no idea what's from, but I have vague memories. One is of an oubliette, that my brain's like, that's nothing like the oubliette in Labyrinth. It's all big. I don't remember the context of it, but I have like a vague memory of that. And then a vague memory of a weird contraption, to which case it explains that lightly armored is more dexterous. It's a D&D player, duh, but I think it was explaining that. But Sean Connery, and Richard Gere. I don't know. It's like all swords and such. Maybe it's good. So yeah, I'm just gonna hop into an unknown movie today and watch First Knight. And I actually find myself a little disappointed with The First Knight. I'll give it a 6.6 out of 10. It's not terrible. But just with, like, the themes and, like, oh, it's King Arthur and stuff, like, I expected to like it a lot more. Oh, well. Before getting to the movie itself, I want to go over something about the DVD that I find so incredibly strange. See, this isn't a DVD menu. This is, like, the DVD player, like, splash screen. Because I put the DVD in, and it just goes right to playing the movie. The credits ended, and it just stops. It goes to the splash screen. There is no menu at all on this DVD. None whatsoever. I'm like, I don't know if I've actually... All the DVDs I own, and I don't know if I have any that are, like, professionally made that just don't have a menu. I've not seen that before. From the back of the box here. Together, Sean Connery, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Finding Forrester, Richard Gere, Chicago, Unfaithful, Julia Ormond, Legends of the Fall, Sabrina, and Jerry Zucker, the director of Ghost, bring you a new vision of King Arthur's Camelot. A vision of breathtaking battles, of heart-pounding courage, of the undeniable love that brought an entire kingdom to its knees, and of the undying passion that made it live forever. And of that, back to the box, it kind of bothers me that Sean Connery gets League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Finding Forrester, and not like James Bond as what he's remembered for. I mean, as much as, and I'll eventually get around to rewatching it, I recall liking League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but I wouldn't say that is something he's more well known for than, say, James Bond. Maybe it's because he was older in it, like he is in this. So, this is the movie about Lancelot and his insatiable lust for Guinevere, who is betrothed and eventually married to Arthur, but man, does Lancelot not care. Ugh. He's a real horn dog. Kind of vagabond, wanderer, sellsword kind of guy, wanders about, says she's pretty, and continues to save her life time and again as her life keeps being in danger because one of Arthur's knights has left the Round Table and started his own war band to try and take over Camelot and the surrounding territories. And so getting to Arthur's betrothed is a good way to kind of manipulate him, so he keeps trying to capture her. So Lancelot keeps saving her. And eventually she gives into the passion after marrying Arthur, and Arthur walks in and them making out. No, he's hot broke and puts him up for trial amongst the city, and then final battle takes place there, and Arthur ends up dying, and Lancelot ends up killing the bad guy. The acting's good. Fine to good. Sean Connery's really good. He has, the real heartbreak moments in there, and he does a great job of that. The acting's good. The story's fine. A little bit horn dog heavy. With it being a cast of almost all men and then Guinevere put in vulnerable situations, there are points that are just uncomfortable written within the story. Both the things I remembered, the gauntlet, the obstacle course thing, and the oubliette are both actually from this movie, so I remember those correctly. Although in my brain, I remembered Sean Connery being the one introducing this is an oubliette. Well, that's not the case. It was being introduced to Guinevere as she's being put into it by Evil Knight. So I remember the scene, but not who was part of it. Again, it's been many, many years since I have... It's just the weird thing, a kernel of information in my brain. So yeah, those were fine. The cinematography was pretty rubbish. Yeah, practical torchlights are cool, although at points it's impractical. I'm like, how are you keeping all these torches lit? But so many scenes at night that are just black background. They're acting against black. And awkward shots. Very flat lighting in a lot of it, the scenes where there's nothing that pops. I'm used to, this is mid-90s, and I'm used to post-Lord of the Rings medieval style films where you make them look cool. The lighting and at times the camera work. We got a battle here. How do we show this? Maybe we show an extreme close-up. Why? Oh, he's gonna get stabbed really close. And I'm sure it's because, the way that they did the effects is, they're stabbing into the guy. Well, we can't have a guy there, so it's an empty suit of armor, so we just, stuff a suit of armor with some padding and stab into it, but then you can't see that the guy's not there, so you have to really get close. But it makes for some really cruddy looking camera work. So lots of extreme close-ups in battles, very wide, flat, boring shots to establish things, matte paintings that don't look very good at times. Yeah. And some of the combat is good. Like at the end, the main combat between Richard Gere and the knight that betrayed was pretty cool, although a bit confusing because they kept cutting to weird things, and you cut back and you're like, wait, are they no longer fighting each other? What happened? Oh no, they're over there. Okay, they're fighting still. Like, it just keeps... I think mostly I just like the camera work. But there are also plenty of scenes where, with those weird close-ups of things and just sort of group fighting that you can't tell what's going on, and like one of the big important battles is done at night with no lighting, and you can't tell what's going on. Like I know, like in Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, like the Helm's Deep battle, they're like, well, where's all the light coming from? Like, because it's pretty well lit, the Battle of Helm's Deep, but it's at night. The same place as the music. It doesn't matter at a certain point. Okay, fine, they made it blue light so that, okay, maybe it's moonlight or something. Who knows? But we needed light so that we could see what's going on. This movie does not believe in that philosophy. It's like, no, it's night, it's dark. You should be lost and confused with no idea what's going on. And I'm like, but that's not entertaining. So yeah, there's some issues with that, the visual things. There's some visual issues, and it was so disappointing. Because I like, Camelot. I like medieval, settings. I like all that kind of stuff, and of course, bad guys in black, good guys in blue. Remember that. Got to color coordinate your factions so that the audience knows who's who. Especially when, like, the guy for the villain with his short haircut and just sort of I'm a guy looking face. Like, there's times, like in the end battle, like, there's a point where, like, all the townsfolk are pulling this guy off of his horse, and they stab him, and I'm like, oh, cool, the townsfolk killed the bad guy. And then it cuts to another guy, and I'm like, oh, no, that was the bad guy. That was just one of the bad guy's henchmen. They look so much, because they just look alike. Oh, well. So... But you know what? It's another movie watched. I get to pull it forward on the shelf. Yeah, not as good as I was hoping. Not as good as I'd really even expected. But is what it is. And now I got tomorrow off work to try and place a Dwarven Forge order right when some stuff goes live in the shop. In the middle of the day. But I'm going to call it a night. Get plenty of rest. Thank you for joining me, and join me as my journey continues. Bye.